More than a dozen candidates have entered the 2024 presidential race, but is there still room for a third-party candidate? Let's bring in Lee Carter, president and partner at Maslansky and Partners, and Leslie Marshall, Fox News contributor and syndicated radio talk show host. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Let's start with Green Party candidate Cornell West. Leslie, is that sounding alarms down at the White House and at the DNC?
Well, there are a couple of things here, and these are two things to unpack. One is a third party. Until you don't have an electoral college, a third party doesn't really have a chance of winning the presidency. But when you look at how is it going to affect the current candidates and the front runners, it certainly would pull away more from President Biden than it would from former President Donald Trump. When you look across the board at independents, it would pull away from Joe Biden. And then when you look within the Democratic Party. Now, Cornell West, with all due respect, I have a lot of respect for him as an educator, a writer, a speaker, but politically, his numbers just aren't that scary. Now, if you go to the other side, Mike, and if you had Donald Trump say, if he weren't to get the GOP nomination, I'm going to run as an independent, Republicans should sweat a lot if Trump is their guy.
All right. So, Lee, then there's West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin. Let's play him.
That's to have common sense discussions to find out what the American people would like to see accomplished, not just basically the toxic atmosphere we have because of political parties. That's all this is about.
So are you ruling out a third-party bid?
Oh, I've never ruled out anything or ruled in anything.
Is Manchin a threat to President Biden, Lee?
I think he is. When you look at the enthusiasm for Joe Biden, he's got a real problem because only 41% of his supporters are very enthusiastic about supporting him. So a viable candidate that might be an alternative to him that seems moderate, that might be also pro-choice, is going to draw some people away because one of the things we know is that 9 in 10 Democratic women are saying, I'm going to vote on abortion, but I'm not necessarily excited about voting for Joe Biden. So if they have a third-party candidate that can draw that, it's enough to maybe pull votes away in those 5 key states that matter.
Among the issues, questions about the president's age and his job performance. 44% approve, 55% disapprove in the latest Fox poll. What about that, Leslie?
I have to say something about Joe Manchin. Republicans view him as a Democrat, and Democrats view him as a Republican.
Right.
With a guy that votes against the party and hasn't supported the president, I don't think Joe Manchin would have a chance running as an independent or pull enough votes away from Joe Biden. When you talk about Joe Biden's age, certainly age is a consideration, but last time I looked, Donald Trump wasn't pushing 30.
Right.
And in addition to that, if you're going to look at popularity, I can't believe all the polls, Mike, and not just because they don't say what I like, because of what happened in the midterm. We had the president showing he wasn't popular. We had polls showing that I would be drowned by this red tsunami, and it just didn't happen. We see a very slim majority by Republicans in the House, no majority by Republicans, but rather majority by Democrats in the Senate. So the popularity number has not affected Joe Biden, and I don't think it will, even though it's a long time till the election next time around.
All right. Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz says, quote, I think it is worth freaking out about because I think this election is likely to be close. And even if these idiots only get 3%, that could be 3% that throws the Electoral College in the wrong direction. Final thought, Lee.
There's no doubt about it. I think it is. Even if it's 3% of the vote, it's that close of a race. And I think it's closer than anybody thinks. Now, Joe Biden is not popular. Donald Trump is not popular either. But Donald Trump's support has really increased since the indictment, but 18% more likely to consider Donald Trump after the indictment. There's a lot of people out there saying that things seem unfair, and they're more likely to rally behind him now than they were before, and I think that's a big shift since the midterm. So I would expect to see a big shift there, and I think a lot of surprises are to come.
Lee Carter, Leslie Marshall, thank you so much.
Thank you.